I'm Morgan, and welcome to Film in Deep Focus. Today, I'll be tackling remix culture in film. What Jarmusch describes here, in a nutshell, is remix culture, a culture that encourages artists to build original works from derivative sources. While the concept of an original derivative seems, and is, oxymoronic, it nonetheless exists within remix culture. Think of The Matrix, for example, a film that remains one of the most unique in American cinematic history. It scalps elements from Dark City, Ghost in the Shell, and Alice in Wonderland, among many others. Yet The Matrix still retains its individuality as a media text. In order to more fully describe how remix culture creates original films, let's break it down into four main elements: bricolage, pastiche, parody, and intertextuality. To illustrate these remix elements, I want to turn to what I consider the crowning achievement of remix culture in film: Edgar Wright's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Let's start with bricolage, which is the cinematic equivalent of collage. In short, bricolage is the process of creating a new media text by assembling discrete items from other texts, regardless of the original item's intentions. In Scott Pilgrim, bricolage can be found in the details: a sound effect from the Sonic video games, a band named after Super Mario's Bob-ombs.
We are Sex Bob-omb, and we're here to make you think about death and get sad and stuff!
A t-shirt with an Astro Boy graphic. The important thing to remember about bricolage is that the references do not hold their original symbolic or thematic meaning. They are cut and pasted into new works with new contexts. However, that doesn't mean that these references aren't relevant to the film's overall aesthetic. Scott Pilgrim is littered with references to video games, which helps to build a world in which the rules in video games apply to reality.
You just headbutted my boyfriend so hard he burst.
While bricolage references discrete items from other works, pastiche is a reference of style. A pastiche is a work that imitates the style of another text in order to praise that text. Scott Pilgrim has one of the most apparent examples of pastiche in film that I've been able to find: the Seinfeld scene. Not only does this scene use the original music from the 1990s sitcom, it also mimics its TV stage style. There's a 3-camera setup, a laugh track, and back-to-back one-liners.
You know when I say someone, I mean me, right? I got to second base last night. Maybe first and a half.
All of these elements work together to make this fairly generic morning after scene more enjoyable by using, and thereby praising, the Seinfeld formula, a formula that generally isn't used in film. Whereas pastiche imitates to praise the style of a work, a parody is a work that imitates the style of another text to ridicule that text. Scott Pilgrim openly mocks the overly macho action hero genre with Ramona's second evil ex, Lucas Lee.
And roll sound.
I want to have as adopted babies.
On your marks, everyone.
Oh man, we gotta go.
What? Why?
I used to date that clown.
And
Action.
I want to be clear, however, that parody is not necessarily mean-spirited. A director can parody a work and still appreciate it. Scott Pilgrim could easily be classified as an action film, albeit an awkward one.
Can I have your autograph, please?
After all, there are 6 major fight scenes in the film, most of which are between men, and there is no shortage of stylized action. Lastly, and most broadly, we arrive at intertextuality, which is the overlapping of media texts, such that one text references or pays homage to others. Intertextuality is an expansive umbrella, and bricolage, pastiche, and parody all fall under its spread. Intertextuality is everywhere in Scott Pilgrim, to the extent that almost every scene is under its influence. Even the opening logos for Scott Pilgrim are formatted in 8-bit visuals and music, harkening back to 1980s video games. Scott Pilgrim doesn't just remix visuals and audio, it also remixes narrative format, merging a filmic narrative with the structure of a video game. Each Evil X becomes harder to defeat and earns Scott more coins when he does defeat them, which parallels the structure of arcade games, such as Pac-Man, which Scott mentions twice in the film.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing.
Hey, you know Pac-Man?
I know of him.
Well, Pac-Man was originally called Puck-Man. They changed it because, not because Pac-Man looks like a hockey puck. Paku means flap your mouth. And that they were worried people would scratch out the P, turn it into an F, like.
This allusion to Pac-Man illustrates another aspect of intertextuality. The themes and connotations associated with the reference texts can shape those of the remixed one. Scott Pilgrim is not only a film built from remix and intertext of different works, it also relies on meta-references to its adapted source material, Brian Lee O'Malley's graphic novel series, Scott Pilgrim. Ramona's flashbacks to her Evil X's are drawn in a similar style to the graphic novels, which not only directly acknowledges the film's source material, but also remixes those references to fit the narrative of the film. I've never seen a film quite like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, even in the nearly 8 years since its release. Even though I'm familiar with some of the references, the film still feels fresh, sharp, and completely original. This is the power of remix culture. The ability to take the nostalgic, niche, or forgotten, and instead of simply reviving them or making them in a newer image, giving them new contexts and a multiplicity of meaning. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more Film in Deep Focus, you can subscribe below. Also, if you're interested in learning more about remix culture, you can check out the wonderful video series Everything is a Remix. See you next time.